Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Entrepreneur Show. My guest today is all the way from South Shields, which is a good 5 hours drive from here, I think. His name is Shah Amin. He is the co-owner and director of My Delhi Group, which is a chain of restaurants in Newcastle, Sunderland, Leicester as well, and a couple of Indo-Chinese cuisines, I believe. Without further ado, let me introduce you to my guest. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Brother Shah Amin, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. How was the drive?
Yeah, it was good. Actually, it wasn't bad. Normally, it's quite stressful, but it wasn't too bad.
Fantastic. Okay. So, the Delhi Group or My Delhi Group.
Yeah.
What is that about? Tell us a little bit about My Delhi Group and what was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah. So the inspiration behind going into business itself was my father. He was a pioneer for Indian food in the northeast of England. So hospitality is sort of embedded in our DNA.
Okay.
So from a very young age, from 13, I started working in a restaurant when I was 13 years old, which was about 35
in between
years
schools.
ago. Yeah, in between school
Your
as well.
education, yeah.
So we've had a number of Bangladeshi restaurants in the past, but we came to a stage where we thought, everything's changing. People are getting more and more educated on food. And there's a market there for authentic. I know we all like to say authentic,
Yes.
but there's a difference between authentic
Absolutely.
and real authentic.
Yeah.
So we wanted to provide real authentic Indian food.
Okay.
So we met with a chef, our executive chef, who is Chef Gaurav Dayal. He's on another level.
An Indian fella.
Yeah, Indian fella. He's came from Delhi. He worked in the UK for a few years. He met with us, and he inspired us to open My Delhi, which was originally 5 years ago. We opened in Newcastle.
In Newcastle, right?
In Newcastle, that was our first branch.
The first ever branch, okay. And that's running really good, obviously, because
Very,
then
very
you
good, yeah.
went to the second one, okay, which
Yes.
is in
Sunderland.
Right.
So
what's the distance between Newcastle and Sunderland?
Not too far.
I've been to both places, but
have you?
Yes.
It's about 13, 14 miles.
Okay, all right.
So there's a bit of a divide when it comes to football.
Okay.
But it's quite close.
Okay. So would you say like your businesses? I mean, you just mentioned football.
Yeah.
So are there seasons for it to sort of boom, and then maybe some seasons?
No, there isn't. To be honest, because of our locations, it's not.
Okay, so you got an average business, throughout the year.
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay, fantastic. So you got 3 branches at the moment, and also you've got this Indo-Chinese cuisines. What are they about, and what do they provide?
So Indo-Chinese is a mixture of Indian and Chinese food. So the Chinese emigrated to India many decades ago, maybe about a century ago actually.
Right.
And they brought with them their food. So when the Indian people looked at the food and thought, this is just too bland, we can't eat this.
Yeah.
So they sort of Indianized the Chinese food.
Right.
And combined, it becomes Indo-Chinese.
Fantastic.
Now, we've recognized that, especially up in the north of England,
Yeah.
there isn't many Indo-Chinese, maybe one or two. But we recognize that there is a niche for that. It's up and coming, so we wanted to get in there first.
Yeah.
So we opened our first branch in Newcastle last year.
Okay.
We've recently opened another branch in Leicester, and alhamdulillah, it's doing good.
Fantastic. Well, I knew all that, but just for the viewers,
Yeah.
Indo-Chinese, and we wherever you are, you need to incorporate the need of the sort of the demographic, and you got to look at what the actual demand is. And this is what happened in the 60s in the UK, when most British people, they couldn't eat spicy food, what we would eat at home. So then came about your chicken tikka masalas and your kormas, and I always tell my non-Bengali customers that those dishes don't really exist the way it is. It doesn't really exist in India or Bangladesh. We created this for you, and now it's a name in most of your houses: a chicken tikka masala and a korma and the butter chicken and whatnot. Although we have these similarities, the original ones.
Yeah.
But this is what the Indians did when they came, or the Chinese did when they came to India, and the Indians need to do that if they go to China as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
food is an art,
Yeah.
and you're in the food business. How would you say you attract your customers in comparison with other places that they need to come to you?
Social media is probably the best marketing tool out there right now. Word of mouth, obviously.
Yeah.
You keep your customers happy, they'll keep coming back, and coming back, they'll bring other people.
And
to
this is what I mean when they do come back, or when they come for the first time. What makes them come back again? Because social media
Yeah.
is obviously marketing, advertising, but you need to provide them with something.
Absolutely. So social media gets them through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's down to the serving staff. It's
Yeah.
down to the chefs. The chefs have to provide excellent quality food, authentic food that will wow a customer. The servers and the front of house staff, they need to give that customer service that they'll keep coming back for.
So, and all the delis, do they have the same menu?
Yeah. So when we opened our second branch in Sunderland,
Mm-hmm.
we realized that we need to scale our business now.
Right.
If we're going to, our ambition and our dream is to have a nationwide chain of restaurants. So if we're going to go down that route, we need to scale our business.
Yeah,
The food needs to be the same, it needs to be consistent,
absolutely.
but we can't make any compromises on
Right.
the taste. So in all our branches, the
Mhm.
menu is the same, the food is exactly the same as well.
So the recipe is from one person.
Yeah, from chef.
Right, because that's the
Gaurav Dayal.
important part
It is, yeah.
of being in an Indian restaurant or any restaurant,
Yeah,
is to hold the recipe.
of course.
Okay. And I'm sure that you face challenges or have faced challenges with somebody else, maybe opening up next door and stuff like that. Yeah, you can make, because all the businesses or any business, right? Challenges and struggles are there. Mention a few challenges that came about and how you dealt with it, just for the viewers.
I think in hospitality, when you wake up,
Yeah,
after you say Alhamdulillah,
yeah,
you look at your phone, you look at the messages, and you're prepared that somewhere along that day, you will get a message to say there's a problem.
yeah.
It might be a small problem, it might be a big problem. A small problem would be, oh, such and such can't come into work today.
And I open up my phone for that every
Yeah,
morning,
yeah.
because I need to see if there's any problems, I need to deal with that. If there are not
Exactly.
any problems, then my day goes smooth. But we all like challenges, right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's what makes a good businessman.
Yeah, it's how we overcome those
Mm.
problems. There will be, in hospitality, there will be a problem almost every day, but it's how you deal with that, how you overcome that problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. So have you come about anything that's worth mentioning?
Okay, so
We just
Last-
like little stories
yeah.
here, you see.
a few months ago,
Mhm.
so I'm sort of semi-retired,
Okay.
but I'm on call 24/7, if
Uh-huh.
that makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
So 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call.
Mm.
There's a flood in one of the restaurants.
Ah,
So this restaurant was in Sunderland, so
the
it's 2
terrible
stories.
Floods are always
Yeah.
terrible, aren't they? Yes.
So basically, it was from upstairs, the kitchen's upstairs, and the water was coming from the under the sink.
Mm.
So if we left it, that ceiling when we went in the
Would've
morning, it
collapsed.
would have just
Yeah,
collapsed.
Yeah.
So I had to go there.
Yep.
I had to get someone in,
Mm.
emergency,
Yeah.
get it stopped. These are things that you don't expect it to happen,
No.
but it will happen.
Yeah.
It will happen.
No,
But
definitely, and
how you
that's
deal with it.
that's what we like to hear, because how do you deal with the challenges? It's like you said, you could have just, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You could have left it. It's not something to leave, by the way, but it would have cost you a lot more,
Yeah.
and the hassle would have been,
Of
immense later on. Yeah, but I mean, in this type of business, you always face other competitors.
Yeah.
And then, so you need to be on top of your game
All the time.
all the time.
All
All
the
the
time.
time. Yes, brilliant. So you are a family man, right?
Yep.
Wife and children?
Yep.
How many?
2 daughters.
Okay, mashallah. They're school age or?
No,
Although you look
youngest
very
one's
young.
21
Yeah.
and the oldest one's 25.
Mashallah, mashallah. So while sort of, them growing up and then you being engaged in business, as an entrepreneur, and this is what I ask all my guests, how was the daily struggle? Because you got to give them time as well,
do,
the wife and
you do.
children as well, in between business.
it's some sacrifices need to be made. I think what we do is for our children, so that they live comfortable lives, so that when they ask for something, you know, they may not always get it, but most of the time, if they can have it, then me as a father, I feel happy that I've been able to provide. But being in business, at certain stages of business, it is hard to switch off. But I hope one day I can switch off and leave it to someone else to look after.
A real businessman never switches
I
off.
know. I'm starting to see that. I mean, I'm nearly 50 and I've been in the trade for 35 years and I haven't come to that stage yet.
No. And you know, it's the good thing about being in business, and I always mention this, that you know how much you actually provide back to the community as well, especially when you're successful, and then you've got you know, so many organizations out there, and we look for this, how we can benefit the community. Are you involved in any charity organizations?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to set up a charity organization in India at the moment.
Okay. Why India?
Because our brand is My Delhi. So we actually went to India last year, to Delhi.
Okay.
Just to see the culture, the history of the food. So we're trying to set up something there. We are also trying to do something in Bangladesh as well. I know, you know, my brother Lalon, he's heavily involved in that as well.
Okay.
He does a lot of charity work, so we're trying to go down that route as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. No, it's always, I mean, look, businessmen are the only ones who become, you know, philanthropists, because firstly, the funding is there, you know, and secondly, the intention is there to, you know, help people. Brilliant. So, from a young age, okay, did you ever think that you will be a businessman or maybe a 9-to-5 job? Did you always think that?
I always knew that. I think after the age of 10, 11, 12, at that age, I knew where I was heading. I knew where I wanted to be. And Alhamdulillah, I am where I wanted to be.
Alhamdulillah, fantastic. You know, I'm happy that you can say that, because many do struggle. And all your brothers, you're in the same trade. Is it like a family
So we've
enterprise?
got 5 brothers. 3 of us are in business. The other 2 are doing other things. Alhamdulillah, one of them lives in Abu Dhabi. He's into education. He's going to come and visit us soon. Brilliant. But 3 of us are in business, and between us we've got 10 restaurants and takeaways.
Okay. So where do you see Delhi being in sort of 10, 15 years' time?
In 10 years, we're hoping to have a nationwide chain of restaurants. So we'd like at least one My Delhi in each major city of the UK.
Wow.
And in 15 years, we're hoping we can spread our wings to Dubai. And Delhi would be the ultimate, because our brand is My Delhi. So opening a restaurant in Delhi would be the ultimate.
Brilliant, brilliant. And you know, this is the future plans.
Yes.
Obviously, this is what you see. You've got 2 daughters, you said. What about your sort of other brothers? They've got children, and you know how we see enterprises grow is when you get families involved. Are you looking at that in those terms, or?
I don't think they want to go down that route.
Okay.
Which is fine. But the way we've set our businesses up, they're running fine, and we've got a system in place. And I think, like, at the moment we've got 5 branches in total. So give it another few months. Once we make sure that each and every branch is doing well and is stable, we'll open a couple of more.
Okay. And you just mentioned they don't want to go down that route, and you know, there is a bit of a stigma behind, you know, restaurant business. I saw that growing up, and I think it's because our children, especially, you know, sort of like maybe the next generation, they saw, growing up, they saw the fathers and the uncles being in the restaurant trade, and you know, it's something that they want to not be involved in. However, people who have not been in that field, you know, they open up restaurants. I know a lot of educated people, you know, master degree holders and people who have excelled in education, what do? They open up a restaurant. And personally, I think it's a brilliant thing. You know, me, just like yourself, growing up, from school, I used to go and work in the weekends in a family business, which is in Ealing. And, you know, that's how I learned the trade, you know. And it just expands your horizon when you know different trades. And this is why I tell my children, my sons now, you know, now I'm presenting on a TV channel. I also got restaurants, as you know. And, you know, there could be different fields, properties and all that. But coming back to the point, we know a lot of successful people who are not in the restaurant trade. They open up restaurants. So it's a fantastic, it's a feeling. It's a fantastic feeling to have a restaurant. I certainly do. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm just looking at the viewers and telling the viewers that, you know, when business is good, restaurant trade is a fantastic way to earn money. And also, if you're an extrovert, if you like to socialize, if you like to see different people every day, what better place than a busy restaurant?
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that right?
Yeah,
Isn't
absolutely,
that right? 100%. You know, thank you very much for coming to the show and
you're welcome.
Letting us know about Delhi 6, and also, you know, your inspiration, your aspirations, where it all came about. And this show is all about youngsters, especially because you know, the elders have sort of past their time, but the youngsters to be involved in business and how business benefits others. So once again, thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
You know, and hope you have the best of success in the future. So guys, you've seen Shah Amin come. He's come all the way, and this is again, you know, commitment. Driving 5 hours to come onto the show, explain to us about why he's involved in business and what success can benefit the people, how success can benefit others as well, because you're not successful only for yourself. You've got your families, you've got you know, extended families, you've got friends, you've got the community, and you know, just you being one person, you can give a lot out there. So hope you enjoyed the show, and until another entrepreneur show, Assalamu alaikum.